It's going to be very exciting in a few minutes because Nadine Dorries, this lady who has been told to give back her ministers or her parliamentary salary because she hasn't appeared in the House of Commons or she hasn't spoken in the House of Commons in the last 8 months or so, nonsense of course, is going to be on The World at 1 o'clock. And she is apoplectic. She's extremely upset because Daniel Stillitz, the QC or the KC, who was advising Sue Gray, is clearly a a Labour supporter. So it's a Labour supporter plus Sue Gray, whose family has strong Labour leanings, who was conducting the report into partygate. So I don't think it could be more dispassionate and objective, and I think that's exactly what upsets Nadine Dorries. Listen to her.
When it comes to the report, I think it's now quite obvious, as a personal friend of Keir Starmer's, as someone who has been in discussion over who knows what period of time, and that's something we need to find out, in discussions about taking the role as his Chief of Staff with the primary objective of bringing down the Tory government. What was her motivation in writing that report? And I think it can only be concluded that given her new role, her new political role, it was to bring down the Brexit supporting Prime Minister, Boris Johnson. I don't think her report is actually worthy of the paper it is now written on, because obviously it's written by someone who has broken quite patently the Civil Service Code today, who has obviously had deep political motivations while she's been writing that report, has possibly, and this is to be uncovered yet, having dual conversations with both Keir Starmer, his office, and Labour at the time she was writing that report. And I'm afraid
all this is
it just has
speculation.
blown the whole thing up. So there is more to be uncovered, and I think the weekend's going to be a very interesting weekend. There is more to be uncovered, but I think we'll be looking at next week at a situation whereby a number of issues which are highly sensitive and important and discriminatory in terms of her approach to the report will be possibly revealed, and we'll be having a different conversation about whether the report is valid or not. When it comes to...
So there we are. Nadine Dorries has had her say. Nadine Dorries has explained what she thinks about the report that's been written by Sue Gray, which really we haven't seen very much of. But Daniel Stillitz, who gave his advice, who was the person on whom Sue Gray depended, has got his social media history. Why did nobody look at that if there's so much alarm? It's like Isabel Oakeshott. It simply suggests that people in our current government don't do their background research, or that nobody helps them to do their background research, or they just cannot be bothered because they are too arrogant and too self-satisfied. Look at some of the social media posts of Daniel Stillitz. The government's current rhetoric is nothing compared to the bile they'll serve up during the forthcoming election campaign. The future of the UK is collateral damage in this mad Tory fight to the death. Why not join Labour? Now seems as good a time as any. Why couldn't Johnson just say, no, I'm going to see my mum. I'm going to give her a call. It might save her life. It is extraordinary, and there are so many of these statements. And Nadine Dorries, of course, is waving the flag for Boris and is incandescent with rage.